Hi there, Kirsty Johnston, host of Nellie's Baby here. On the hunt for another podcast? Try The Lodge, an 8-part RNZ investigation into a wellness cult based in Te Anau, where people died thinking they'd gained supernatural powers. Keep listening to hear the first episode, Distant Bells, then search for The Lodge in your favourite podcast app to hear the rest of the series.
He kōna ipurangi tēnei nā te reo irirangi o Aotearoa.
One day, not so long ago, I found myself fossicking around in the garden shed. It's not one of those attractive, alphabetically ordered, pristine sheds that I understand some people have. It's the place things go to die. Full of creeping jasmine and cobwebs, wetters and Avondale spiders. I was looking for an artefact from the mid-2000s, a doco on a DVD. Younger listeners, ask your parents about this wacky doomsday cult living at the very ends of the earth, hanging out in a 1960s hunting lodge near Te Anau, at the bottom of Te Waipunamu, the South Island of Aotearoa, New Zealand. Here's that battered little case from some charity store. Looks like it might have housed a musical instrument, maybe a trumpet or something. I think it's this one that's got all my old work in it. Grandmaster, 2004.
Please close your eyes.
I think she's an incredible woman. I think she has incredible knowledge. She's a master.
She's the one who can control your life. She's the one who can tell you what to eat, what color to wear, with whom to associate.
I think at that time I was desperate. I was searching.
I looked at sex as, it was a game, it was a fun, it was sort of sport.
Did you believe you would be able to fly? Yeah.
If I leave, where do I go? What can I do? I don't want to be without Iping because Iping is the one that's keeping me from dying.
And in the end, I think she died a really horrific death.
If Iping Wang would have any power, my brother would be alive today.
I think it's outrageous, actually. I just think it's because these people are really vulnerable, you know?
I can't explain. I don't know I'm cold or not. So whole New Zealand people can judge I'm cold or not.
It was a project that started with great promise. An Eastern guru and her European followers finding sanctuary in one of the most beautiful places on Earth, when the whole globe seemed to be going off its rocker. A place to advance yourself, learn cool things, gain inner peace, mix with like-minded people. They offered things like seeing the future, defying gravity. But the harm done would make this school, this therapeutic community, this cult, let's call it what it is, the target of intense public scrutiny. And offer us an important lesson for now and the future about who we trust to make us better.
Find it. Connect to it. Stay aware of it.
Kia ora, I'm Phil Vine from RNZ, and this is The Lodge, the fall and rise of a wellness cult, a podcast about healing, about the power of belief and its lasting effects on the believers and the believed. So what had me scrambling around in the junk shed? It was a story on the radio that week that rang a distant bell. I was at my place when I heard it in Tamaki Makaurau, West Auckland. Early doors at the coffee machine.
A member of the Hamas administration is reported to be...
It wasn't Gaza.
...an Israeli strike on a school in Gaza City.
Or Ukraine.
Kiev again illuminated for all the wrong reasons.
It was something that came after. I can't say what. I can't even tell you when or who it was on the radio that sent me down to the garden shed for that DVD. Just before we launched this podcast, someone got lawyered up to prevent them being named. I can't say what they're alleging or why. But don't worry, this person, a public figure in New Zealand, was a peripheral character. It's annoying, but doesn't really affect the rest of this remarkable yarn. Let's crack on. As a reporter, you have those stories that stick in your mind, the ones that are particularly weird or horrible or frightening or all of those things. I was remembering various scenes from the TV programme. On the DVD, they're all a bit mixed up. A bunker, a Mediterranean resort, some crazy dancing, a face growing into monstrosity with a giant tumour. I needed to see it all in order just to make sure I wasn't imagining things, because it seems like all of this sort of stuff is playing out again, big time. Next problem, how to play it. No DVD player on my computer, or indeed in my house. I'm hoping Dave and Andrea, our friendly neighbours, can help out.
But weirdly, Phil, we've actually got 2 DVD players.
Actually, the one we're going to use is my DVD.
Okay.
Andrea.
This is Andrea's DVD player. Okay. All right.
We've got a bank of DVD players.
Oh, that's good. And
Yes, I have actually got a spare new one in the eaves as well, just in case we have double failure.
Why do you have DVD players still?
Because we're children of the 90s. I think it needs to go on HDMI 2 or 3 or 1.
Okay. Into the machine it goes. And... right. Up pops Amanda Miller, New Zealand's answer to Barbara Walters.
Tonight, a report into a school in a remote corner of the South Island, where they say you can learn special powers, see the future and maybe even fly. People come here from all around the world and some pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to learn from a Chinese Grand Master.
The show was 2020 on TV3 in New Zealand.
Phil Vine with this exclusive investigation.
I was the reporter. Drawn from the capitals of Europe to the mists of Fiordland by the teachings of a Chinese Grand Master. Gotta say, it's freaky watching something you made 20 years ago. They wanted to learn how to use energy to heal themselves and others and develop special abilities. So painfully earnest.
She just fascinated me. And I remember saying to my mom that we had to sell everything we owned and follow her.
We were willing to do everything just to get the secrets from her.
Those are 2 followers from the lodge, Suzanne and Eddie. Don't worry, I'll introduce you to both of them properly later on. All you need to know at this point is that it's 2004 and we're gathered in a beige conference room in Invercargill, New Zealand's southernmost city. So they could tell me about their bizarre experiences at the lodge with other followers.
All those people, they're highly educated. They're doctors, they're lawyers.
I think at that time I was desperate. I was searching. I think that probably I could have been persuaded by a great many of people. She just happened, she was the one.
She was Ai-ping Wong.
Forget all the problems, what you have. Now is time.
It's a series of photos, though, taken by Ai-ping's followers that started all of this. Caused me to book flights to Southland and a space in a hotel to film people who just fled from the lodge days before. In the first image, there's a man in his 30s with a spot near his eye, and as time goes on, the spot develops into a monstrous growth encompassing half his face. It's quite stomach-churning, hard to look at. What sort of reaction did you have to those photos?
Oh, they're quite horrific. The first photograph is a small melanoma beside the eye, which looks inflamed, but it became quite a big tumour, about half the size of my fist, I suppose.
Brian Hewitt, a local cop. The photos were evidence in a police inquiry that looked into a sudden death at the lodge.
He was deemed to have lack of energy in the water field and in the metal field.
That fatality, hot on the heels of an earlier one.
And in the end, I think she died a really horrific death.
I'm not here just to retell some double tragedy for the sake of it. What's bothering me is that these same energy-healing philosophies surrounding these two deaths seem to be popping up everywhere. I'm wondering whether here and now this evolving story might serve as a cautionary tale about mixing health and spirituality.
To surrender, to believe, don't doubt, don't think.
I guess when I made the last edit to that story 20 years ago, its weird goings-on and strange cast of characters, I thought, well, that's an end to that. Brought into the light, this therapeutic community would fold, I thought, and fade to nothing. I couldn't have been more wrong.
The car is here.
Oh, hi, Pastor.
We're here.
Doug, are you there?
Yeah.
Okay, America's here.
After 2004, the group, with its mysterious leader and her curious promises of supernatural powers, seems to have grown, not disappeared, spreading around the globe.
New Zealand's here.
Yeah.
How about Switzerland?
Yeah, it's also here.
Okay, everybody's here, yeah?
Iping's followers and family have established scores of outposts or franchises, from Slovenia to Croatia.
Ja, das ist die Energy Clinic. Will you an appointment for massage?
Switzerland to London and across the States, with the global headquarters near Te Anau, New Zealand, at the lodge, where the guru still lives, flying well under the radar. I wanted to find out how this cult and its ideas had developed in the fertile ground of a burgeoning wellness industry. In the previous doco, I'd already talked to lots of followers, those who'd left.
She's the one who can control your life. She's the one who can tell you what to eat, what color to wear, with whom to associate.
Like Simona from Slovenia and Caroline from England.
I thought I would die if I left. And I was stuck in this, what do I do? If I leave, where do I go? What can I do? I don't want to be without Iping because Iping is the one that's keeping me from dying.
Then there were those still in there and loving it.
I think she's an incredible woman. I think she has incredible knowledge. She's a master.
Blessed to be at the lodge.
Teaching me how to live, how to behave, that I'm going better and better.
For this podcast, I was keen to start with someone who was close but not so deeply affected by Iping Wong. So I tried the next door neighbour.
Hi, John speaking.
Oh, g'day, John. It's Phil Vine here. Sorry to call so late. Yeah, cool. Hey, listen, the reason I'm calling is I am interested in talking to someone about Takaro Lodge. And
Takaro Lodge?
Yeah. Yep. I understand you used to be a neighbour of theirs.
I sure did. Yep.
John Smart used to live on Takaro Road, 30 k's to the northeast of Te Anau. It was 1998 when Iping and her followers originally moved in to the lodge next door. So, yeah, what was your impression of that place when you lived there as a neighbour? How long were you there and what were they like?
We were up there for 9 years and, we met quite a few people. We're going up there because they had trucks going back and forward and their lentils and all sorts of things were going on, but and none of them were Kiwis. They're all overseas people. They're all right. They're all reasonably free. I didn't say too much.
The place they were moving into, Iping and her followers, wasn't without its peculiarities. It already had quite an intriguing past. It had been a spy base.
It's Graham in Washington.
In a telly movie, at least. A film called Brotherhood of the Rose, starring Robert Mitchum, a 2-part miniseries made in 1989 for NBC in America. Think ridiculous outsized phones, excellent pattern wool sweaters.
Landish is dead.
How?
Explosion in his greenhouse.
32 million people would have seen Iping's future home when the film premiered on primetime after the Super Bowl.
Nobody cares for the woods anymore.
The Lodge landed another part in a big movie, or rather, the trees up the road did. They were Fanghorn Forest in Lord of the Rings.
We're not orcs. We're hobbits.
Hobbits.
And remember the Titan expedition from 2023.
A public hearing into the Titan submersible disaster has revealed the final text messages sent by those on board.
That ill-fated sub that exploded on its way down to the Titanic wreck. Among the 5 dead, Stockton Rush, who owned the sub. His dad, a rich Californian, was the one who originally built Takaro Lodge in Fiordland in the late 60s.
Yeah, it had a full, phenomenal kitchen area. Well, it was basically a commercial kitchen, I suppose, but at a fairly high level. And the grand hall had massive fires and just beautiful, beautiful place.
The lodge opened for wealthy hunters in 1970. It had antique furniture, gold taps, a billiard room, 14 luxury villas, a private airstrip and a helipad.
And, it was for the elite. Guys used to fly in there with their helicopters and they had all the chandeliers were all gold-plated.
Within a few years, it got into financial strife.
And then he went tits up, basically, and bailed out of there, and it was just shell of a building, should I say. There's a substantial amount of buildings.
In 1998, Iping Wong scooped up the lodge, chalet accommodation in 1,048 hectares. That's 2,500 acres for $2.1 million. Now, all the dollars I talk about in this podcast are Kiwi dollars. If you want to convert to US currency at the moment, you can just halve it and add a bit. For pounds, halve it and take off a little.
The previous owners we knew really well. We used to go up there quite a bit, and then it got sold to Iping. And, the rumour was that it was going to be an interesting institution whereby people go there and find themselves.
John's a cowcocky, local parlance for dairy farmer. I suspect he would have been voted the boy in his class least likely to end up in a cult. But honestly, after everything I've heard, you never know.
Because originally she set up these big satellite dishes there, and she had, I forgot how many hundreds of thousands of people subscribing to her and her philosophies, and she was broadcasting, I think it was 2 or 3 times a week.
Pretty sure John was doing the dishes as we spoke. I was picturing him with his phone wedged under his chin, hands in the sink.
And he subscribed to her, and she, helped with healings and, self-betterment stuff and all that sort of stuff. And but definitely, when we were up there, it definitely had all the makings of a cult, the control, people went in there and they were stripped of everything bar the clothes they had on, basically. I was told there was an American lady there who'd given over $1 million of her own money to be there to heal herself and all this sort of stuff.
You'll notice that John used the C word, cult, and I've been using it as well to describe the group at the lodge, but not lightly and not without taking professional advice.
Yeah, it's almost cookie-cutter cult stuff, to be honest.
Anka Richter, author of the book Cult Trip. She's our cultic group advisor, if you like.
So there are definitely some markers that make this look like a cult-like group, for sure.
More from Anka shortly. And if you were wondering, how could someone set up a cult in small-town New Zealand without anyone noticing? Well,
put it this way, we had the New Zealand Secret Service parked up our road for about a week. And they were just, they had the alerts out on them, and that was a number of years ago now.
Wow.
So, and how do I know that? Because it's very, very, very obvious when you get a fairly flash Holden Commodore in those days parked up on the side by the bush in the middle of nowhere, and guys basically in suits. So I tapped on their window and said, "Hey guys, what are you doing here? This is a bit strange." And turns out, look, hey, we can't say too much with the New Zealand Secret Service. And okay, I just said some Takaro Lodge, and they sort of smiled at me, and wasn't too much else said, to be fair.
Now, someone might have been pulling John's leg, But this is the SIS, the Security Intelligence Services that we're talking about, the Kiwi equivalent of the FBI or Homeland Security. So there's no way as a reporter I could get that claim verified on the record. Maybe we'll have to wait for an archival dump 50 years down the track. Anyway, did you ever meet Ai Ping Wong, the Grand Master?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So they had an open day up there. They opened the place up for the whole of Te Anau and the community to come and have a look and see what they're doing. And that was quite early when it first started. It was probably within a year, I suppose. And they'd made this underground bunker underneath their two big tennis courts and stuff there where you could drive trucks in and dump copious amounts of bulk food. We didn't get to go right down into there, but they showed us around, the place and what they'd done to it. There was places where you couldn't go, and there was places where you were open to go and have a look at the lodges, the individual lodges and stuff like that.
Did you pick that up earlier? A bunker, he said. Classic. You have to remember, though, this was the run-up to the turn of the millennium.
It was the last year of the 20th century, and everyone was looking forward to what the new millennium would bring. But along with excitement came big concerns of a major computer flaw experts called Y2K, or the millennium bug.
Fueled by the fears that computers weren't prepared for the date rollover to the year 2000, and they might well fail, like all of them.
The result? Panic. People at home stockpiled dried goods and bottled water. Banks and businesses developed emergency plans.
Now, we might look back and laugh, but as I remember it, shiz got pretty real.
Whoa. Have you ever had a dream, Neo, that you were so sure was real?
1999. Social media's just become a thing. Anxiety's in the air. The Matrix and Blair Witch Project are two big box office smashes. Bill Clinton's getting impeached. Helen Clark becomes Prime Minister of New Zealand. Australia wins the Rugby World Cup.
Bugger.
And from now on, we're allowed to use that cuss word.
Bugger me.
Thanks to a TV ad for a certain brand of ute or pickup, where everyone swears, even the sheepdog.
Bugger.
Farmer John Smart continues to be puzzled by the folks who've moved in next door. This Chinese guru and dozens of her followers had flown thousands of kilometres from Eastern Europe, the UK and the States, buying a huge tract of land and accommodation in the middle of nowhere. Closest town, Te Anau. Population, 3,000. Remember that underground building Farmer John mentioned? The one underneath the tennis courts? Well, that matches up with what Eddie, an ex-follower, told me in the last doco.
You can say that it's like a bunker.
A former engineer, Eddie helped to design and build it.
People from Te Anau, they were actually delivering concrete and all the metal. They were just amazed how much concrete we use.
An underground bunker and food stockpiled for 10 years. They appeared to be hunkering down. Eddie told me they'd come to Aotearoa seeking sanctuary. Ai Ping predicted big trouble as the new millennium rolled over. She'd been informed by higher powers about the very best place in the world to weather the coming disaster. That was the southwest of the South Island of a tiny Pacific nation called New Zealand.
Yeah, we were preparing like that it's going to end. And like because they were preparing, everybody believed it. That's true. You know, like whatever she said, she was right.
A worldwide disaster. Maybe not the end of days, but something suitably scary.
Doomsday cults, they're everywhere, and for some reason New Zealand seems to be a bit magnetic for them. I can think of another culture group that I researched extensively. That was Agama Yoga. They're still going in Thailand, and their guru Swami actually came to New Zealand and was looking for a similar place, but had his eyes on a mountain or a piece of land somewhere in Golden Bay. So clearly there must have been channeling different entities.
We're definitely on the map as a place to run to when the world feels a bit frightening.
Far to the east, over ranges and rivers, lies a single solitary peak.
Maybe it's the canon of fantastical films shot here.
A long time ago, my ancestor Paikea came to this place on the back of a whale.
They simply add to our remote mythical status and otherworldliness, our distance from everything and everyone. According to Vice News, Aotearoa is becoming the go-to place for rich Americans to build their bolt holes.
I guess no one knows the true answer to how many bunkers are in New Zealand, but I have 38 to date.
That's what a bunker builder told Vice. Apparently Silicon Valley billionaire bros are clamouring to make little hidey holes here in case everything goes to pieces.
You know, they're clever and they're hyper involved with social networks. They kind of see the way the world's going, and I think it's probably a valid concern.
Trey Ratcliffe, an international travel photographer.
I think if you're wealthy enough and you're going to get a place here, and if you want to have a bunker, then why wouldn't you?
Yeah, why not? As with tech bros, so too aspiring cult leaders. Anka again.
I think a lot of that is also, again, creating this fear amongst their followers and this us versus them narrative that the word out there is going to an end and we are the ones who are going to be saved and this is why we're working so hard for this. So a doomsday scenario is a great motivation for making yourself feel very special as the chosen people and then giving it all that you can for your leader. I mean, it's really textbook stuff.
Back to the bolt hole in question. In the late 90s, it wasn't just followers joining Aiping at the lodge. The guru's family came too.
Well, I know she brought her daughter over that was pregnant, and she was within 10 days of having a baby when they brought her over from wherever, Malaysia or wherever she came from. She shouldn't have even been flying, but they managed to get her into the country. So there's all sorts of things that went on. We were told that there was no record of people coming or going from there, so you never knew who was there and who wasn't there. So if someone had died up there, no one would know. You know, like there's no record.
That story about her daughter, where did that come from? Do you know?
So basically what happened was one of the trucks had stopped on the side of the road and there was three characters in it from the Te Anau Lodge. And they were waiting for the vehicle to come that had gone to pick up Aiping's daughter. And I said, oh, that's nice that her daughter's there. They said, oh, she's due to have a baby any day. And I went, oh, how do you mean any day? I always asked a lot of questions. So, in the next week. And she'd just flown into the country basically that day. So, yeah. I mean, they had their own beautiful quarters and, they had proper chefs and things there supposedly taking care of their dietary and things. So I'd imagine that the kid probably would have had probably a different upbringing to the actual people that were paying to be there, but that tennis was a big thing up there because they had 2 tennis courts and really beautiful place. So
some people have told me they left Europe because she told them that the world was going to end in the year 2000. A lot of people thought that, I guess.
Oh, yeah. I'll tell you.
That's why they built a bunker.
Yeah, I can tell you a story about this as funny as.
According to John Smart, on the last evening of 1999, Aiping's family and followers might have had very good reason to believe in her dire predictions, that they'd come true.
So basically, on the millennium, the night of the millennium, the power went out. Okay, so what happens was some geese were being shot at and they hit the power lines, knocked out the transformer, and the power went up our road. So we didn't see anyone on that road for 3 days because we didn't know the power was out up that road. And it was only by some coincidence that someone's water pump hadn't been working or something that, so for 3 days, they actually thought that the world had ended.
Spoilers, the world wasn't finished. The computers ticked over just fine. The horse riders of the apocalypse stayed home with a nice cup of Milo. What happened when the world didn't end?
Nothing. We just changed the topic. Whatever she said, she was right.
Just so you know, I'm calling her Aiping not out of disrespect or over-familiarity. It's just how everyone refers to her, including her believers. Aiping's manager denied afterwards she'd ever riffed about any doomsday event.
But Aiping never talked like that. She answered people's questions because people used to ask about it. But she didn't have some message like that.
This is Lodge boss Sarah McCrum, a senior follower of Aiping's. She's been the main media spokesperson for her guru, her explainer-in-chief. Remember the name Sarah McCrum. She'll keep cropping up in all kinds of places. So, once everyone at the lodge and the outside world had got over their fixation with things apocalyptic, it was time to get on with the next 1,000 years. According to ex-follower Eddie, the next thing on the menu at the Phenomena Academy, Aiping's name for the school there, was supernatural powers, special abilities.
What sort of abilities?
Like flying.
The ability to fly.
Flying. Like you watch movie Hidden Dragon, Crouching Tiger?
Like running up the side of walls and leaping
Exactly.
over buildings.
Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
For non-movie buffs, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon is a Chinese martial arts film from the year 2000. Some of the characters in the movie appear to fly up walls or across treetops. That's special effects, though, rather than special abilities.
Did you believe you would be able to fly?
Yeah,
You did?
I did.
But you're not a stupid man. You're an engineer. You know that things don't just leave the ground like that.
That's funny.
It is. But what I didn't know back in 2004 is that years later, I would be experiencing something similar. I'll tell you more about that later.
Some people, they say it's brainwash, and that's what she said. If somebody said that it looks like she is brainwashing us, and she said, yeah, I need to wash your brain to put new programming.
These offerings of new programming and supernatural powers sound incredibly implausible. But during the original investigation, we got written proof, an itemised list of the powers on offer. 2020 has obtained a document from the Phenomena Academy. It clearly states that Aiping Wong has dedicated her life to teaching others special abilities. The list includes healing without medicine, teleportation, seeing the future, and flying. Lodge manager Sarah McCrum says the big sums of money handed over were a small price to pay. They changed lives for the better. And that last bit on the list about flying, just a bit of fun.
Flying's another thing. Flying, I take flying like a joke. Chinese people joke about things like that.
More on the flying later, I promise. But it was the healing without medicine line that really rang warning bells. It's the crux of the whole thing. I mean, teaching people how to look into the future, to fly, fairly harmless stuff for consenting adults, so long as no one tries to jump off a building, right? But convincing people they don't need medicine, people who are going to die otherwise, that's a whole different matter. Some pretty sad stuff went down.
I miss my mom more than I can express in words.
2 deaths, both believers, both followers of Aiping's, who venerated her.
If Aiping Wang would have any power, my brother would be alive today, right?
Do you blame Aiping Wang?
Not legally, perhaps, but responsible in that sense that I told she created the environment where this happened.
The deaths of Borik's brother and Suzanne's mum are coming up in Eps 2 and 3. Why are they so relevant? Well, that place, the lodge, had created a culture, an environment, as Borik called it, where people felt comfortable, enthusiastic even, rejecting conventional medicine for treatable diseases, terminal diseases. And that dynamic, the offering up of non-medical alternatives, steeped in mysticism, lacking in scientific rigour, is happening every day in clinics and therapist rooms and right across the internet. It's part of a $5 trillion wellness industry.
So what's often referred to as snake oil salesmen or charlatans,
These have existed for centuries. But what is new is the rise of social media and many digital technologies that enable ordinary individuals like you and myself to build a brand online and to reach a vast global audience.
What I was seeing in the social media space is individuals claiming to have alternative ways to not just prevent a cancer diagnosis, but to cure cancer.
Experts say wellness gurus are constructing this environment by convincing their audiences they have a secret. Something the medical establishment will never tell you. The Phenomena Academy at the Lodge is a forerunner of that type of business that proliferates now in the wellness economy, where healing through energy is practically a mainstream event. I really did think that Ai Ping Wong's 90s philosophy of life technology, where energy can fix just about anything, your health, wealth and happiness, was history. I stand very much corrected. Those ideas are way back in fashion. Don't believe me? Just take a look at Insta or TikTok or YouTube. And as far as I can tell, they're still being preached in person around the world. An empire with an HQ at an old hunting lodge near Te Anau in little old New Zealand. That's Distant Bells, Ep 1 of an 8-ep podcast.
I personally think he cannot be cured there.
Coming up in Ep 2, I find another person who wholeheartedly trusted Ai Ping Wong to keep him alive.
He'll either go on combination therapy or he'll die.
And as we go deeper into the story, we meet a fellow traveller, someone on a parallel journey. A filmmaker who's been documenting Ai Ping's activities on the other side of the world.
I think it's outrageous, actually. I just think it's because these people are really vulnerable, you know?
And a Kiwi actor caught in the throes of the wellness industry.
I'm less afraid of dying than I am of living, of going back to live the life that I had before.
We find that not all of Ai Ping's wellness followers are as peace-loving as you might imagine.
He just said that he wanted to speak to the Prime Minister. He had a bomb with him.
And respectfully and openly, I seek answers from Ai Ping and her inner circle.
I can't tell you anything more. Thank you so much.
I was after an interview with...
Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening. Special thanks to guests Anka Richter and John Smart. Big ups to our marvellous RNZ engineers, Ben Pearce, Rangi Powick and Jeremy Ansell. Thanks to my producery colleagues, Liz Garton, William Ray and Justin Gregory. Cheers to Amrita Marks for the stunning tile visuals, Luke Bottle and Robert Stewart in our legal team. My executive editor, Tim Watkin, and the person that makes everything happen, Brianna Uritich-Gregg. Make sure you're following The Lodge wherever you get your podcasts so you don't miss an episode. You can read more about this mind-boggling wellness cult and see photos of all the characters involved on the RNZ website. Links in the show notes. Shout out to Nick DeFries, Beatnik, for his music. Also, cheers to the BBC and many thanks to Warner Brothers for access to the News Hub archives. Ka kite anō.